Xrp fans, there's something you need to hear, and I'm afraid for the short term, it's not good. We'll also talk price action, TVL action, and two bigs fighting each other. But don't worry, XRP fans, I got you covered with news as well. Some bigs are selling, which means what? Things be on sale. We'll talk price action along with, well, where am I? Let me know if you know where I am. Great English, Klaus.
I say lots of naughty things, so here's your warning.
No, I can't take my clothes off and do you in the. Oh, I'm recording. Check out the ETH chart. How many times has each touched 4,000 and then crashed on down after? Look at this. We've seen this time and time again with ETH. Is it ETH? Do the players that trade ETH know something and sell before the action happens? Because look, ETH was doing nothing and made a run up and then, government shutdown. Now, before we get into the crypto news, like the things HBAR fans need to hear along with us XRP fans, you know the deal. You, the viewer, come first. So guess what? I share your comments at the beginning of every video. David Austin says, I got all the respect for you, brother, for rejecting that offer in a time when everyone's account is low. We need more influencers with integrity like you, Klaus, is the truth. I appreciate it. Now, don't get me wrong. If someone wants to me to promote nitrous systems, superchargers, twin turbo kits, shit that's not crypto related, yeah, I'll definitely do a promo for that. But when it comes to crypto stuff, I don't want to do it because I want to stay unbiased. Because you know what you want and you know what you deserve? You don't want the BS, oh, we're going to go to the moon when shit's red. No, you want the real news and you don't want biased news. How many times were people shilling you bullshit in the past and then you find out, oh, it was a paid promotion? Crypto sensei. Coriani says, and this is why I'm a member. That's right, because you, the viewer, matter most. Bitcoin 107,384. ETH is 3870. Look at BNB above 1,000. I'm going to pay attention to that because I want to see if they're able to push that down below. XRP at 232, Sol at 185, ADA is at 63 cents, and yeah, it ain't looking good for a lot of players out there. HBAR fans, we're at 16.4. We're going to talk that HBAR action later. Altcoin season's at 27 out of 100. We have rebounded a little bit overall in terms of market cap, but the reality is it's because Bitcoin is holding its gains better than the rest of the market. Andrew Tate calls $26,000 BTC the bottom. Wait, what? Wait, what the fuck is this guy saying? He thinks we're going to have, what, like a 75-80% crash from here? This dude is on crack. Andrew Tate suggests the price could drop further due to overconfidence among investors who believe the market has already bottomed out. I think a lot of us out here don't believe it's bottomed out because if the government shutdown extends, like if we meet on Monday, okay, just so you know, Monday is when the government goes back to work. Okay, we should have another vote on Monday. If all of a sudden on Monday the vote sucks, Tuesday the vote sucks, Wednesday the vote sucks, people are going to be like, yo, y'all did this whole weekend and you didn't make any progress. So no, a lot of us are sitting here thinking, we might have more downside to come. In fact, if the government shutdown continues through mid-November and then that temporary funding bill only gets us through to the 21st of November, well, then we got to chew through this shit sandwich all over again, and then we would be chewing through it during Christmas season. And no one fucks with Santa Claus, so I'll come for him. But Andrew Tate says everyone is max longing because they think it can't go any lower, Tate said in a recent video, but that's when it gets worse. The more you believe it won't drop, the more likely it is to do so. I seriously think a lot of people out here believe that we got more pain to come. Over-leveraging is only contributing to the market's volatility, while many investors have already lost substantial amounts. They hold on to hope they can recover everything with one big trade. Now, that being said, CZ, right, the crypto bro out there is like, yo, Schiff, you're a tard card. Why? Because Peter Schiff said that BTC is going to get wrecked by what? By gold. Listen to this bet. The reason I brought up the Andrew Tate thing is this. I think some people, Andrew Tate specifically, need to stay relevant. So to stay relevant, Andrew Tate's going to throw out some low ball whack job number. I don't think we have any chance of BTC eroding another 70-80%. No freaking way in hell. Do I believe we could break 100,000 below? Yeah, I do. So I'll keep you informed with the news. Now, the CZ thing. This is CZ and Schiff going back and forth. Remember, CZ, crypto bro. Schiff, gold bro. CZ fires back to Peter Schiff's latest Bitcoin criticism. Schiff, a well-known Bitcoin critic, said via X that cryptocurrency's 32% decline against gold in August shows that investors are losing confidence in its long-term value. So what he said, he says gold is eating Bitcoin's lunch. Bitcoin is now down 32% priced in gold since its August high. This Bitcoin bear market will be brutal, he wrote. Okay, now, do you think it's still going to be brutal when the government gets back to business and we get the ETFs going? Do you still think it's going to be brutal when we get the regs going? Do you still think it's going to be brutal when we get everyone more money flowing in because of the protections of the regs and so forth? When we get lower rates? I don't think so. Now, granted, the pain could extend through Christmas if, again, the government doesn't pull their heads out of their asses. But for real, if that happens, I'm going to start a campaign where I'm going to champion the idea of vote all of them fuckers out. He further encouraged holders to sell their fool's gold and buy the real asset. CZ responded to Schiff's latest prediction with sarcasm, referring it to his Peter revenge. He explained while that his argument might be right in the short term, such occurrences only represent about 1% of Bitcoin's 16-year history. And I like that. I'm not a fan of CZ, but I like exactly what he says. Look, when things are red, you know what happens, right? The gold people come out and start calling out Bitcoin. When Bitcoin and crypto is roaring, they start calling out gold and so forth, right? It's all about what you hold. Now, for me personally, let me just get a little personal information, right? You, the viewer, matter most, so I'm going to share with you what I do. I buy crypto, but then I buy a ton of gold and silver to hedge against it, right? If I go risky with crypto, I balance it out with boring stuff like gold and silver. So, yes, the market has sucked recently, but everything I have in gold and silver is doing like super, super good. So, yeah, I've got pain in one hand, but I've got money in the other. By the way, I still haven't sold any of my gold. I might want to start thinking about that as gold and silver are both roaring. Ooh, HBAR fans, this is something you need to hear. HBAR priced to crash further amid Hedera ecosystem woes. Now, I'm not a believer that ecosystem news helps out with price because I think of Stellar XLM, right? Stellar, one of the biggest tokenization real world asset things out there. But it doesn't do anything with price, right? I mean, I just did a story earlier about really good news with Stellar XLM, but it's good for the ecosystem, not the native token holder. So take this story, HBAR fans, with a grain of salt. HBAR price has crashed into a bear market after falling nearly 50% from its highs. Whoa, and that's since August. That's a lot. The crash could accelerate as top fundamentals deteriorate. For example, despite its big name in the crypto industry and high market cap, Hedera's role in key industries is fairly small. For example, Hedera has struggled to attract top blue chip developers like Uniswap, PancakeSwap, and Aave in its decentralized finance ecosystem. As a result, the TVL in the industry is just 168 million. That's it. The total DeFi industry is 280 billion in assets. So you kind of see where people are getting worried about. Now, this is where I think we have to start paying attention here, okay? Hedera does not have a significant market share in the gaming and non-token fungible industry. I don't really care about that. But what I do care about is this. Hedera has been overtaken recently by launch chains like Katana, Unichain, and Base. Yeah, so HBAR has been there before, but these new ones now are beating them in that. But then again, tokenization doesn't bring money. TVL doesn't bring money in. So take this all with a grain of salt. Now, that being said, look, HBAR fans, this is not looking good. And it's nothing that HBAR is doing differently. Let's just be real here. I could show you any chart out there and it's all going to look like this. So seriously, take this all with a grain of salt. But understand that you can snipe, but you have to be careful because, yes, downside risk is persistent and there are market laggards out there, and those market laggards will not perform as good. So, again, you know how, like I told you, like I hedge my crypto with gold and silver? I also hedge my risky cryptos with more boring crypto. So just kind of keep that in mind, all right? You don't want to go all too crazy. That's the whole idea of not putting all your eggs in one basket. 242 million in XRP dumped as selling pressure builds. On Friday, October 17th, hey, that's today. You mean I bring you breaking, up-to-date current news even while on vacation? Yeah, I travel with my laptop and I do videos all the time. In fact, check this out. You do realize that I have not taken a day off since when, everyone? Are you ready for this? since the beginning of May when I had my surgery. Put that one out there for dedication. The tracker spotted two large consecutive transactions, 53 million XRP and another 53 million XRP. While both transfers are collectively worth $250 million, commentators suggested that whales may be strategically dumping their holdings to hedge against future losses. And for those of you out there, look, whales are always buying and selling. A lot of whale action that I pay attention to that you see, they move. They don't hodl. There are some hodlers, but a lot of big money out there rides the hot pony, right? We've seen it before. Remember when ETH was kind of like boring and all of a sudden started roaring? ETH's volume was insane. The inflows were beating BTC. ETH is blue, BTC is what, everyone? BTC is orange. And there were times, like, check it out, like in August, where ETH was kicking the shit out of BTC. So during that time, all the big money was rolling into ETH, the hot pony. And not everything can be hot all at the same time. So kind of keep that in mind with these things. When it comes to whale transactions with XRP, there's always someone selling, there's always someone buying. Why? Some people may have been up. Maybe some of those whales that were dumping their XRP, maybe they bought it at 50 cents. And maybe their wife was like, yo, I want some new really big Magumbos. And my guy was like, yo, I'll just dump 250 million in XRP and I'll get you the biggest Magumbos in the world. We don't know what people's reasons are for selling. Maybe they're trying to be strategic and they're trying to buy XRP on a dip and hold it from there. We don't know. So don't assume just because whales are dumping that everything is bad. Everyone has a motive, and we don't know their motives. Overall, in the crypto market, volume is $250 billion right now. Absolute freaking insanity. Fear and greed is at 28 out of 100, while XRP right now is clinging to 233. You're seeing some key price action right now as a lot of our favorites are trying to hold support levels. In fact, if we go to the 7-day chart for XRP, watch what happens here. Yeah, we're starting to get now where, everyone? Yeah, even lower than before the flash. Not the bottom of the flash, but the start of the flash, right around that 220 mark. So kind of pay attention because those candlesticks, yeah, that's what we have to look at. So XRP fans, I'm honestly not worried in terms of long-term worry. Short-term, yes. If the government keeps screwing it up, not that we're going to cancel. No, sorry, not that I'm going to cancel Christmas because I'm Santa Claus. But it may kind of push back when we get the ETFs, when we get the regs and so forth. And honestly, Jerome screwed the economy by leaving rates too high. And honestly, the Democrats and the Republicans are screwing all of us. So I don't know. Either way, don't pay attention to the whales too much. And HBAR fans, remember, TVL isn't indicative of price. In fact, ecosystem news is rarely indicative of price. So, what's the best strategy right here? If you want to go risky, balance it out with some boring. And if you like risky, maybe balance out some of the risky with a little less risky. Yeah, spread it around a little bit. So when the pain train comes, maybe you got something else that's green. That'll put a smile on your face, and you know what I mean. And I'm going to give you some big time advice right now. Pay attention very closely to this weekend. See if any quotes come out from some of the bigs on the Senate. See if some of the bigs in the House have anything to say, because that's what's going on right now. And on Monday, if on Monday we still haven't garnered any new votes to support the stoppage of the shutdown, prepare for the market to poop, because that would mean what? That over the whole weekend, no progress was made, which would mean that we've got a pretty strong possibility that the government shutdown might loom through November. That's the pain train. So, XRP fans, tomorrow is when those ETFs were going to start firing up, and according to Garmin, it ain't looking too good for those ETFs. So, ETFs delayed, regs are certainly delayed, and well, the United States government's doing what they do best. Screw over the regular people like you and me. But I don't screw you over. I've denied every single one of those promotions to you. I honestly don't want to do any promotions in relationship to crypto because I want to be unbiased. I don't want to sit here and go, oh, I got paid by this exchange and then this exchange also screwed people, but I need to be quiet because this exchange pays. No, 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 no. You know who pays me? Ad revenue by you watching these videos, the channel members, the super chats. So All the information you get from me is unbiased, good, bad, happy, and sad. That's why there's no hopium on this channel. And that's why, honestly, I'm able to sit here confidently and say, look, short term, there may be more poop sandwich. In fact, the poop sandwiches might be on the platter for the next couple of months. We still are going to get regs, still going to get the ETFs, and honestly, life goes on. There's been shutdowns before this. We've dealt with Gary Gensler crashes before, and now we're way ahead. In fact, I can remember less than a year ago, we had an anti crypto presidential regime in power. And yet prices sucked at that time. In fact, XRP was like 30 to 60 cents at that time, and we ain't anywhere close to that now. So if you ever feel weird, zoom out and understand that a lot of the pain we're feeling is temporary. Choo choo what? Well, check out the second channel I got where I'm showing you all my Guatemala stuff. Now that I'm in a new location in Guatemala, you're going to see even more fun stuff. In fact, I think tonight I might go out to the bar with my wife, get a little bit of ceviche, maybe be a little soft and get some mojitos. Yeah, I know, really stroking it hardcore. And what? You know the deal. Choo choo bitches.